Ixa Nembang, and I'm your host for the Money Mania Enfuce series here live at Money 2020. Today I've got the pleasure of introducing our guest Fatemeh from Rivero. So Fatemeh, tell us a bit about yourself and Rivero.
Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Fatemeh Nikayin. I'm one of the co-founders of Rivero. Rivero is a Swiss fintech located in Zurich. And what we do is to help banks to simplify their payment operations by offering them modern software products.
Yeah. So when was Rivero founded?
Rivero was founded in 2019 and the first product was launched in 2021.
Okay. And what led you to start Rivero?
Well, initially I started my career in academia.
Yes.
After I did my PhD, I felt like I want to do a bit more practical work. So I would say by coincidence, I ended up in the payment industry. I worked for a consulting firm in the Netherlands here, actually. And then, as part of just working for different banks and different countries, you just get to know a little bit about the domain and the typical challenges that banks are facing. And then I was fortunate to run into my co-founder, who back then was the chief, Thomas. So Thomas was Chief Information Security Officer of one of the largest issuers in Switzerland. We used to work together, and we were always complaining about all the problems that we see in this payment domain. And then at some point, I think both of us were either we give it a try and try to fix it, or we have to complain for the rest of our life working in the domain. So that was the story of how we decided to start with Rivero.
And you're both doers.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, what was your education, your PhD?
So my PhD was related to, back then it was all about the smart homes and smart living.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of an interdisciplinary domain that looked into technology versus the organizational challenges of bringing that technology on a larger scale to the market.
Okay, well that's really interesting how obviously from a very diversified education background to go into payments, but of course it seems like you've got a lot of technological background which can contribute towards Rivero and what you've built so far with Thomas. So that sounds really exciting. So we're here at Money 2020. Is this your first time before? Have you been before in the past?
No, I've been here almost for the last 5-6 years, especially when we founded Rivero. Money 2020 is one of the events that you should go to meet customers, partners, ex-colleagues here always. So we try to always be here at this event.
Exactly. So for this year's Money 2020, what are you most excited for?
I was really looking forward to meet a lot of prospects that we are talking with, because these days you have all these online meetings. And this is a place where everyone tries to be in, and then you can try to meet the people that you used to meet online. Unfortunately, I don't have that much time to attend all the talks, so I spend most of my days usually running from this meeting to the next meeting. But it's really a few actionable.
It's just so good to actually meet people face to face.
Indeed.
And put a face to the screen as well. And building that connection and networking, I think, is for me as well. Money 2020 has been the biggest opportunity to meet partners like yourselves, for example. So I know that Enfuce and Rivero are partners too, and that we're also using you for the scheme compliance. But speaking of the talks and what's been going on at Money 2020, of course, one of the really hot topics has been AI and generation, for example. Now, from your own personal opinion, how do you see AI shaping the wider payments kind of space as well? Do you reckon?
AI and in particular large language models are really exciting area. I use myself, for example, ChatGPT on a daily basis, right? So it's becoming the new Google for us, right? But if I want to talk about, for example, in the domain of disputes that we are more active in, we deliberately decided to not choose large language model for the chatbot that we have as part of our solution. And the reason for that is that the dispute domain is a very rule-based domain where the results and the outcome has to be predictable and reproducible.
Yeah.
But when we talk about LLMs, they are usually very good at domains where you have a large set of data, and it's not so important that the output from the machine is predictable or give you the same answer every time. And that's why for us in the dispute domain, this was a bit of a limiting factor, and we decided to not use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, what are your other predictions on any other hot topics that you think we'll see beyond 2024?
I think as my prediction, I don't know if it's going to be true or not, but I think banks will focus more and more on process automation and optimization, because what we see especially on the issuing side of the card payment, the margins are shrinking, and it's because of the smaller interchange fees that banks can collect. As a result, they need to look into ways to save cost, to improve their bottom lines. And I think that's why I think all this automation and process optimization will become more and more important in years to come.
I completely agree as well. It's all about just, I think, all the innovation that the banks are going to go through, and automation for sure. It's all about how can we just scale a bit more. I think back years, no one knew what fintech was, and still people are asking me nowadays, what does fintech even mean? So if that was only a couple of years ago, who knows what it's going to be like in a couple of years. So let's see for that. But I think that I totally agree with your prediction. But Fatemeh, I want to thank you so much for coming to the Money Mania interview series for today. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of Money 2020. And thank you for coming here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah.